Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian, welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 25 with the St. Louis Cardinals. In our previous episode, we finished a reasonably good season. 78 and 76. We had a really hot start to the season. We were actually flirting with contention for the NL pennant, but we fell off pretty drastically after the All Star break. If we take a look here at the expanded standings here, um, we were 41 and 40 pre All Star break, and then we really kind of hit the issues down the line there. We also lost a bunch of one-run games, more than any other team in Major League Baseball, which is why we should have finished at 88 and 66, but we were so bad in tight games like that. That's something we have to fix. We need to get clutch hitting, but more importantly, we need to get a bullpen that can help preserve leads for us. Um, well, that being said, let's begin by checking out our coaching staff. We need a new hitting coach and a new bench coach. Let's start with the hitting coach. I think Guy Jones is a really good fit. He gets along pretty well with most of our hitters, which is good. Can I add tendencies, ratings? No, I already have all those. Here we go, relationships. That's exactly what I've needed this entire time. Because now I can look at it at a glance. I don't have to go into every single entry. So this is an interesting dilemma. Ball player wise, has a remarkable reputation, a great hitting coach, and has good relationships with my players. If we dig in a little bit deeper, he gets along well with all of our hitters besides Jim Hegan, which is obviously really, really good. He can help us get the most out of Mickey Mantle, and that makes him a great choice. Um, 1 second. Oh, pardon me. I think I got that just in time. Now, Guy Jones is a little bit better at development. So, for a team with young hitters, there's certainly a lot of attraction to bringing him aboard. But he doesn't have the relationships that we're looking for. And so I think the best choice here is ball player wise becomes our new hitting coach. He's got world championship pedigree, and I think he serves as an excellent selection. Our bench coach, we just want the best coach we can get. So let's go ahead and look at player relationships. What are we? I think we're good at teaching everything, to be honest with you. Let's focus on development then. Let's have something that can continue to develop my young players here. And I think James Fenton is a great choice. I think he'd be a fine bench coach. It looks like he's ready for the big leagues. He's been managing in the international leagues for a while. And he gets along great with most of the team. It is a little more concerning, however, who he doesn't get along with, namely Mickey Mantle. Maybe Mr. Fenton isn't the great choice. But he's so good at everything else that I think having a bench coach like that actually makes some sense. Let's wrap up our pre decision making with our practice facility. Mr. Colavito, I would like you to work on probably quality of contact. Um, it's going to be challenging for you, but if you can make some inroads on that, I think you'll advance quite rapidly up the system. Ed Boucher, I think we're going to try the same thing. No, actually, we're not. We're going to work on platism with him to try to make him a little bit better. Roy Face, I'd like you to work a little bit more on his control, please. Ken Boyer. It is not going to take much for him to be able to crack the major league roster, but I do think improving his defense is one of those critical things. So let's go ahead and work on your defense. Frankie Boy, you've got a fair shot to be a center fielder. You're not great at it, but you're not terrible. I see you be able to put the bat on the ball. Let's work on that. Let's have you work on your quality of contact. And last but certainly not least, Mean Gene Green or Jim King. I think we'll work on Jim King here. Mr. King's actually got some pretty good stats here, and he's also a pretty talented outfielder. I think working on his plate discipline would help accelerate his path to the big leagues as well. Great. Let's check on the freely available talent and see who we might be able to snag. There's not much in the way of quality players here. Not that I'm too surprised, but it is still, would have been nice to see a really good dude. 50 potential, please. We're going to try to steal some players if there are any to be stolen. Our pitching does concern me. Thankfully, Tom Morgan is really good, and with Harvey Haddix, Morgan, and Wynn, we have a decent core. But we really need a really good reliever. I think that's something that we'll really need if we're going to be a top tier team. I'm not seeing a lot of indie leaguers that have interesting backgrounds that are worth pursuing, so we shall simply progress in time and see how things unravel. That's a great point by Hank Greenwald. I never thought of that. All right, so talking about the existing roster for a moment here. Johnny Hop had a pretty significant drop off, but it was foolish to assume he'd ever have a year like 1950 again. Um, he's such an important leader, and he's one of our best veterans, so I think he's got a chance to stick around no matter what. Davey Williams isn't a great defender and also had a bad year offensively, so I think there's a lot of room for him to improve as well. So second base is up in the air, shortstop is up in the air. Um, Bobby Brown was a pretty good trade at the deadline. I think he could play second or third, depending on where we need him most. Outfield, I feel pretty good about Woodling and Mantle, with Cleveland Clark playing center field again. I still think he's our best choice in center. Although, no, he's still better than Mantle. Mantle's got really good range. He's also pretty error prone, so I'd like to keep him in a corner where he could be a little bit more useful. So the infield is up for grabs at this point. If I can find one or two quality infielders, I think that would make a huge difference. We also lack a big bullpen presence, and I think that's something else we need to focus on. So that'll be kind of my objectives here as we progress. We have some high level talent that might be major league ready ish. I'm thinking particularly of Roy Face, who could add yet another experienced arm, and maybe let us take one of these older starters and make him into a reliever. That could be pretty helpful. Sam Jones had a really good season for us. He may be kind of our ace in the hole as far as somebody who might be a great reliever to help us with our issue with one run games last year. So looking forward to that. Mr. Wise is very wise indeed. We got ourselves a brand new bench coach as well. Delightful. As a programming note, if you're a fan of deck builders, Wednesday I'll be doing a run of Balatro. So you have a chance to watch that if you're interested and learn more about one of my favorite deck builders of all time. A gold glove for Mickey Mantle in right field and Gene Woodling in left field. That's some great outfield defense. I'd love to see it. Mickey Mantle got a Silver Slugger. Of course he did. Jackie Robinson had better of one MVP. That's all I've got to say. Nice work by Tom Morgan, our Rookie of the Year. It had to have been Jackie Robinson winning MVP, right? Yeah, it was. Damn, Gene Woodling finished third. That's quite impressive. Fucking Sid Gordon. Every time I see his name, I get even a little bit angrier because we had Sid Gordon and we let him go because he wasn't actually that good for us. Like, look at him. He. One of my bigger mistakes of late was letting him go for a song when he actually had. If he had this in him the entire time, we should have just let him loose and let him play the game. But we were stupid, and so the Browns paid for it. That's already got to be in my list of stupid choices. Yeah, it's already my second worst trade of all time. Only behind the immortal Cecil Travis. What did I even get for Sid Gordon? It says it's one of my worst trades, and yet it doesn't rank. Oh, it might be. Yeah, Howie Paulette. Gross. That is big yikes. Big yikes. Mail-in news. Hall of Fame voting. Anybody impressive? Not as such. It's mostly the same guys we've seen the past couple of seasons. Um, like if Joe Cronin's going to make the Hall of Fame, it's going to be this year. It's a really weak class of players, so oh, Paul Derringer is pretty good. I will vote for Mort Cooper and Tommy Bridges. Twommy. Claude Passo. I mean, I think we're already screwed here, though. Like, I don't see there being much of a chance that a lot of these guys even making the Hall of Fame. So I'm just voting for the sake of voting, but with the full understanding that it's highly unlikely that most of these guys will ever make it. I feel reasonably good about possibly Derringer and possibly Joe Cronin making it, but as far as the rest of it's concerned, it seems a bit unlikely. Some player development could be really beneficial this season because they have a number of talented rookies that just need an opportunity, but I'm not going to give them that opportunity if they're not ready. If we take a look at today's draft, we're picking at 11th. There are some talented players, but I think even asking for, say, a Dick Groat to fall to me, who I think would actually be a pretty fine choice for us, I just don't think it's very likely. I think most of the great players are going to be gone long before I get to draft. So I'd love to get Hank Aaron at first base, but yeah. Felix Mantilla is uninspiring. Egg Charles doesn't exactly fill me with glee either. Like, there are some decent players here, don't get me wrong. But if we're not lucky to have Dick Groat fall to us at number 11, I think we're going to struggle to make an immediate upgrade. Um, I think Dick Groat's going second overall. I find that kind of funny, but I'm also not that surprised. I think a guy like Dick Groat has a lot of talent, and if he makes it to us, I'd be genuinely shocked. But we'll see what happens. Let's just zip right on down to the draft and see what happens here. Okay, Ken Boyer has not gotten any better. Thanks, fuckhead. Really appreciate that. All right, this is a key draft for us. And I'm hoping we can get a quality player, even if we can't get the player that I actually want. Yeah, Grote didn't make it. I had no illusions that he would. I hoped he would, but who took him? The Senators did. Okay. All right. So we've got a few choices here, most of whom don't fill me with glee, but we have choices here. Seth Moorhead is a really talented pitcher, but he's also extremely raw, and it's going to take a long time before he's a useful player. So maybe not him. Jim Gentile's got a big bat, which is very appreciated, but I don't think he's a good first round pick either. I do need a reliever. And if Johnny Podres can develop quickly, he might be our answer to our relieving problem. Felix Mantilla is a terrible infielder. He's a good hitter, but he's a terrible infielder. And so I don't really want to bother with him. Sandy Amoros is a pretty good player. But I don't really need another corner outfielder as much as I could use either a really good reliever or a really good other player. Interesting, Dick Hall. He does offer some flexibility, but he's not a very good hitter. Yeah. I think it's Johnny Podres. Johnny Podracing. I think that's the choice we make. I will take Gentile in the second round here. I think he's got a lot of talent. Even if I don't think he's got a terribly high chance to reach that talent level, nonetheless, it's still helpful. Um, Ollie Anderson fucking sucks. He's a bad player. He's an okay outfielder with a lot of decent qualities there, but he's a terrible pitcher. He's really, really bad at it. I'd rather take Roland Barr. Mm-hmm. Do any of you have even 50 potential at hitting for contact? Not even close. No big old thumpers either. It's just garbage at this point. We could take Carl Spooner and see if he develops. Same thing for Robert Long. I'm trying to take a risk on guys with live arms to see if they can figure it out, and then I'm just going to auto draft everyone else. Ah, yes, the annual culling of the roster. There you go. Anybody's Rule 5 eligible that I want to keep around? I think Lansing and Presco are both worthy to keep around as pitchers in the mid 40s. They could turn into really good relievers. Let's see who might be around by the time we get to draft. Not Frank Baldwin. He's a catcher that can't catch. I mean, I guess he keeps the locker room loose, so he's not useless, but that doesn't bother me in the least. I like Steve Ridzik quite a bit. Let's draft him. Are there any infielders of any note here? Let's go and take D Maestri. I think bare minimum he can be a helpful reserve. Yeah, let's do it. Let's bring him along. And Luis Marquez is just uninteresting, so okay. We finish. Alright, fuckos. I could be looking in the trade market. I just get the sense that there's not a lot there, and I don't want to sacrifice my future for a mid-tier upgrade. We'll see, though. Any Hall of Famers this year? Joe Cronin is one of them. Good for him, man. Good for him. I'm sure I don't care about anybody else's signing bonus here. Arnold Hallgren sucks. He's a good defensive outfielder, but that's not enough for me to pay him any money. I guess I have nothing better to spend my money on. He can have $1,900, but fuck the two of you when you're both so terrible. Um, what is on the trade block? A bunch of first basemen for the most part. Um, and not a single shortstop either. Yeah, I don't think so. No, we're keeping Robert Long. Why on earth would you try to waive him? You want to get rid of Kilberg? I mean, Kilberg's not very good either. I want you to try to keep him, though. Let's see what happens as we advance time a bit farther. Oh, no. Anyway. Do I? I want to go to John Brechin. Fine. We can send him packing. I think we'll go as far as Mickey Mantle takes us, which is both a good problem to have and a not so good problem to have. But that's all right. Preseason begins. Delightful. Could increase ticket prices. I don't see why I would. I'm spending a lot of money on both scouting and fucking player development. So how's about you do your jobs? Let me do this for 150. That way I can be sure it'll upgrade to where it needs to be. There you go. I think to get a good young shortstop in particular, I'd have to probably pair an awful lot to make that a thing. Some players got better, a whole lot got worse thanks to their time with oh god, Johnny Hop just disintegrated. That's right, Ellie Clark played third base last year, that's right. We might need to get rid of Johnny Hop. Maybe he'll bounce back for spring training, but that is very disconcerting. Why are you saying? Oh, I was looking at the wrong number. Okay. Ernie Johnson might be the bullpen guy we're looking for. Joe Dobson throwing harder is only going to help him out, which is ironic given how old he is. But yeah, I think Johnny Hop probably is done. I know the fans like him a lot, but I can't play this in my lineup. I'm not gonna bench him, but maybe I have to. Is there anybody that anyone would give me for him? No. It's also possible he has 10-5 rights and won't let me trade him, which is very possible. Look at his contract. Oh, yeah. He doesn't want to be traded. Then I think he might just end up getting released because he is not going to be starting this year for the St. Louis Cardinals. His time is up. I mean, I guess I could keep him on the roster just for the lulls. Maybe see if you take a demotion to the minor leagues, but either way, Mr. Podracer can go up to the major leagues, get an opportunity to show what he can do. Um, yeah, let's do it. I mean, if you really want to play Mickey Mantle in center field for spring training, I don't mind, but he's not going to be there once the major league season starts. But I do think it's at least helpful to get him some experience in center. But Cleveland Clark will be my center fielder. I hate David Williams leading off. I think this is a stupid decision, but again, it's just spring training, and I want them to just get a chance to gel a little bit as we approach the start of the actual regular season. Hmm. I mean, Sam Dundy's chances of making the team were somewhere between 0 and -0. I even know that -0 doesn't even exist. That's how low his chances were of making the team. Mathematicians from, gosh, I don't know what university is in St. Louis. I know Mizzo is a university in Missouri, but I don't think it's near St. Louis. Either way, he's not very good. Is the main takeaway. I mean, I'm content with the world where Frank Thomas is our center fielder. If we really think Cleveland Clark is that issue much of an issue. Nice, improved his contact. And Roy Face got better at control. That is going to be vital. Because we could use another young starter. All right. Actual regular season ends on April 12th. Let's zippity doo dah down the line there. That is unfortunate for him. same for Cleveland Clark. So Frank Thomas just made the team. I don't know what position it's going to make it at, but he just made the team. Because I'm going to need a reliable center fielder so I can kick Mantle out to right field. Or we just suffer with Mickey Mantle in center field, but I think we're better off putting him in right. So I think that's going to be one of our plans. Is going to be to play Frank Thomas in center field. Um, don't be shocked if Mister. I mean, he is a klutz, so frankly, I'm surprised he didn't get seriously hurt sooner. 1 to 2 weeks is not enough for you to annoy me. So I would love a lot more control about when the sim stops you. I think that's something that OOTP could pretty easily invest in my opinion. All right, I got 34 players. One of the things I noticed looking at other teams, like looking at the Cubs, for instance, they're pitching like 9 to 10 guys. I think I've been having way too many pitchers on the roster, so we're gonna go ahead and make sure we whittle this down to 10. I think 10 is a perfectly viable number. Joe Presco to the minor leagues. Steve Ridzik can go back to his home team. Ernie Johnson will be back soon enough, and I think he's actually got a fair bit of upside. Stabby can go to the minors. McDonald can go to the minors. Lansing can go to the minors. I wouldn't mind Sam Jones getting a little bit more time in the minors. This puts me at 12. I don't even care if Hacker gets through and somebody else takes him. I'm not going to have him make the team. Damn. My starting pitching advantage just kind of disappeared because Tom Morgan just declined significantly. Jackie Collum can go to the minor leagues. All right, so Johnny Podresing gets to make the opening day roster. But I want him. No, 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 no. He's not avoiding high leverage. He will be a middle reliever. Um, I think Ernie Johnson is my preferred middle reliever, but I'm willing to see what happens here um, as the season progresses. All right, that's the lineups. That's the rotations up. I only get one more player in the lineup. Do I have any position players that are worthy of an opportunity? Yeah, turns out 37-year-old Joe Gordon's not so good anymore. I think Frank Thomas playing center field is more useful to me, at least until Cleveland Clark can recover. Are there any position players of note? Not really. They're all very, very far from the minor league, from the major leagues. Billy DeMars just sucks, so I think we send him to the minors in this opening day roster. It is not a roster that fills with very much confidence, if I'm going to be honest with you. But we'll figure it out. Let's also clear all the depth charts, please. All right, batting ratings. Our best hitter by far is, of course, Mickey Mantle. All right. Um, I think we're gonna do Bobby Brown hitting second, Gene Woodling hitting third, and Mickey Mantle hitting cleanup. I guess this is our 2-3-4. The alternative would be batting somebody else a little bit higher in the order, and making Woodling the leadoff guy. But I don't really have another hitter that I trust. Mr. Mantle is so error prone, I can't trust him in center field. Maybe he'll improve and can get some center field time later on. So the question is, who's my center fielder? It's certainly not Bob Usher. It's definitely Frank Thomas. And we're going to go ahead and hit him fifth. Hmm. Oh, Bobby Brown could also play second. He could also play second. But his skill set, he's a third baseman. He's too error prone to be a second baseman. If I cared principally about defense, Joe DiMaestro would be my starting second baseman. If I cared about offense, it might be Davey Williams. Was Davey Williams even that bad as a second baseman last year? Oh god, he's been awful both years. Yikes. And I ain't playing Joe Gordon, that's for damn sure. Allie Clark can play first base. I think that's a good position for him. Let's slot him in as our sixth hitter and have him bat fifth. Or sixth, rather. Oh, let's set it up so it's the same for both sides for right now. So Brown, Woodling, Mantle, Tomas, Clark. Um, what if I tried something truly wild and started Stan Lopata as our leadoff hitter and catcher? That would be a fascinating decision. I don't know that I can defend it, but he's got such a good batting eye. I think it's worth trying. This could go terribly. Like, this could be the biggest and stupidest mistake I've ever made. But I'm willing to give it a shot. Mostly because I have no other options. Um, and then Joe DeMaestri is going to play second. I feel like, especially with my starting pitching taking a bit of a hit, I need to sub in that defense. So we're going to rock with Joe DeMaestri and Charlie Rivera um, as our infielders again. Mostly through lack of better alternatives. All right, give me a depth chart. Don't be fucking stupid. Jim Hegan is not starting every 7 games. But I do like that if David Williams getting regular starts at second base to just show if he can improve a little bit. He may just be one of those players that's just better suited as a reserve. That may just be what we're talking about here. Alright. Huh. Harry Simpson is apparently a very good defensive first baseman. Good to know. We have a lot riding on Frank Thomas. Frank Thomas is being asked to fill a crucial defensive position and a crucial offensive position as the guy that people pitch to instead of Mickey Mantle. Yeah. I don't know how the season's gonna go. I'm really concerned about how much of a nosedive Tom Morgan took when we really needed him to be his best this year. We have some talented hitters still in the organization, like Rocky Colavito, who, if he can develop a little bit more this year, he's going to get opportunities. The thing is, he doesn't have an actual position anymore. He's only an outfielder, and I have Mickey Mantle, Gene Woodling, and right now Frank Thomas. Maybe the long-term solution is Frank Thomas slides back to first base and Colavito takes over like in center or something. Or Mantle improves enough in center that I can trust him there. I don't know. What I can tell you is that we're going to start the season and see what happens. We're not as deep as the Braves. I think that is going to be our biggest challenge this year is going to be surviving injuries. We have depth, but all the depth is concentrated in just a few positions. So we could really use some upgrades our um, to our farm system. All right, friendos, let us simulate the entire country of Poland. Oh wait, no, just the player. Let's delete all my emails, so I don't need that many emails. That is awful timing. That is the worst possible timing. Because Billy DeMars is terrible. He offers literally no value. I mean, I guess Bob DiPietro and then David Williams starts at second, which is like a terrible, terrible decision, but I don't have another choice right now. I just got through saying how weak we were in terms of depth, and oh boy, did we just prove it there. Like the fact that Joe Gordon is completely washed and yet still has a role to play on this team just tells you how little depth we have. Is there anybody interesting in free agency or possibly the waiver wire? There's one mediocre first baseman. Cool. And then a bunch of players that just don't really move the needle for me. If I sort by shortstops, John Fogler is an amazing defender and a terrible, terrible hitter. You know what? I'll still offer him a contract. I just need warm bodies, guys. I just need warm bodies. And having them in my farm system at least makes me feel a little bit better. Okay. Or you could just injure all of my players. Is my fucking team trainer like the absolute worst or something? He is thoroughly unremarkable in every sense of the imagination. And you know what that means to me? You're fired. I will find a better team trainer who is not awful. I like Joe Williams. He's not good for running leg injuries or arm injuries, but he's really good at recovery, and I think that's a helpful thing to have. So Joe Williams, come on down. That's too many injuries in too short a time. And I don't really have a ton of options at catcher either. How long is he out for? Like 2 weeks? Yeah, I can't afford to not have a backup catcher for 2 weeks. Earl Taborn, I guess you can have some shit. I'm gonna lead off with Davey Williams. It's stupid. It is a comically dumb decision. I literally have nobody else. We are definitely scraping the bottom of the barrel here, and I don't really have a better solution than that. And then Taborn is going to be our backup catcher. This could be a legendarily bad season. Um, and I honestly would not mind bottoming out as long as I don't get fired for it. Warren Hacker managed to clear waivers, which doesn't surprise me. Great. One of the things I have to remember to do is when I take over a new team, I have to fire all the coaches, or at least most of the coaches, until I've had a chance to find the ones that are really, really good. Tom Morgan is recovering slowly. Roy Face is getting worse. Not something he could really afford to do. Low Ren just got better, and Jim Gentile is actually improving pretty dramatically. Nice. Ali Clark is the best player in the National League, evidently. My goal this season is to not get fired. If we can recover sufficiently, I will more than happily. Damn, actually, Stan Lopata was actually hitting really well. So we're going to go ahead and try to get him through waivers again. And then we can swap Egan and Williams. Rochi Woodling played every position. What would happen then? And then Mr. Jim Hegan can serve as our backup catcher. All right. Great. You know where you're going, Sam Denti? The fucking minor leagues. You're actually not bad defensively. As much shit as I was giving you earlier, you actually are decent defensively. I'm gonna go ahead and send down DiPietro, and I'm gonna let you have your moment to be a decent defensive backup. I'm not starting him every 3 games. Don't be stupid, game. Joe DiMiestri also comes back. Would Joe Gordon take a demotion to the minor leagues? I doubt it, but we can try. Would Johnny Hop take a demotion? No. I mean, Andy Carey is not really that useful, so we can send him down instead. Um, oh God, how long is he out? Um, I'm fine with this. I actually like the idea of Davy Williams starting for the moment. Maybe see if he's learned anything in the off season. Because we're going to be bad no matter what. Like, I think that's just how it is. Especially losing Harvey Haddix, who was by far our best starting pitcher, other than early win, who's not the way he used to be. Um, I think Wilbur Lansing is probably the new starting pitcher that takes over for him. Monty Kennedy walks a lot of people and gives up too damn many home runs. He also only had 4 innings, so I don't really know that I can judge my current bullpen. And to be clear, I am not losing games by 1 run. I'm losing games by like 10. So the bullpen just isn't that big a deal this year. I said I just lost 2 consecutive games by 1 run, but okay. Cleveland Clark still has a lot to offer this club. The question is, how is Frank Thompson managing center field? He's been doing okay. Um, I mean, this is the obvious solution. Is getting rid of Bob Usher and replacing him with Cleveland Clark. I mean, Allie Clark has cooled off significantly since the start of the season, so there always the chance of shifting Frank Thomas back to first base and letting Cleveland Clark have his old job back. But I think for the moment, um, we can let Frank Thomas continue to play in center field. I think that's fine. Generate depth chart. I don't want him playing every second game, but I think every 7 games is reasonable. And let me copy this depth chart over. How is the team looking this year? Gene Woodling is off to a pretty slow start. Um, However, he's still a really great on base guy. So even though he's lost a little bit of pop, that's fine. Bobby Brown is performing fairly well. He's a useful player. I thought this was dumb, but maybe this is secretly the most brilliant decision I could have made because actually getting a base at a really good clip. Um, the lineup's been decent. The pitching has been highly suspect. Raquel Vito is obliterating Double A at the moment. I don't know why you sent him down when he was destroying Double A pitching. I would have just left him there. Great. Just great. Any youngsters getting better? Not so much. Pete Daly could be a catcher if I needed one, I guess. All right. We need a new second baseman. I will call up Andy Carey again, and then I think it's D Maestri is the one to play second base now. Because D Maestri at least has been a tolerable hitter. I can't say as much for his pals. Depth chart, who dis? Absolutely not. And once a week. Okay. Damn, Andy Carey putting in some work. You love to see it. Um, Lou Berberet is not far at all from getting a role on this club. He's a pretty talented guy. So if he can keep working at it, then he's got a chance. Ken Boyer's getting marginally better at defense, but he is still a long ways away from the majors, which is sad. Now, Mickey Mantle getting hot is key to us being a better team. That is a true statement. Frank Thomas is getting it done. He's not a very good center fielder. Okay. And Allie Clark is also not a good enough hitter to justify it, so maybe we slide Frank Thomas back to first, bench Clark, and start the other Clark. Maybe that's best for this team. Then again, like here's the thing: we're not winning the World Series this year. We're not even going to make the pennant. We're not even in that stratosphere. So I think there's some value in just letting him just play center field and see how he works and see how it works out. Even if he's bad at it, because we're not going to win no matter what. And then in the off season, we can look into getting a new center fielder. Maybe hell, maybe Rocky Colavito pushes the issue. I would dearly love to see him be our starting center fielder because I think it would be funny. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong league. Some old friends in here though, like Preacher Row and Vic Wirtz. Mantle and Gene Woodlink are our only two All Stars, and honestly, that's fair. Can I do anything to fix the pitching staff? Not really. I mean, I could make Johnny Podres our use more often guy. See him develop a little bit more though. I mean, a rotation is fine. It's just not good, but it is acceptable. Um, hmm. I wish Joe Corden would just fucking choose to retire at this point. I truly wish he would do that. I know he's useful. He's really useful from a leadership perspective, and I respect him for that. I'm not trying to alienate the fans, but it'd be funny if I did. I just like bang on pots and pans, tell them all to get fucked like constantly. That would be really funny. Let's go ahead and renew some coach contracts here. I think Ernie Nietzsche has done a pretty fine job as our pitching instructor. I think we can easily keep him around. And then Paul Arnold, our third base coach, is really good at what he does. We can go, maybe he's not. Maybe a new third base coach could actually, we could get a lot of mileage out of. Let's try that. I mean, he's a great teacher of catching. I respect him for that, but our bench coach is almost as good, and I think that's a way to overhaul the coaching staff a little bit. I'm hoping I have enough goodwill with the owner that he'll give me another year, even if this year is a bad one. Um, Johnny Hop is going to retire. You know what, fam? You've had a rough year. I am more than happy to see you retire. I hope Joe Gordon follows you in retirement. I mean, David Williams back. Who's been playing second? D Maestri. He's been fine. Um, what if I started Andy Carey over Bobby Brown? How would that look? I think I'm just gonna let Davy Williams rehab for now until a roster spot opens up. Oh, right, trade deadline. I guess there is some stuff here that I might be interested in. Like, there are really good players being offered up, but they're all fairly old, and I don't really want to add more age to a team that's already fairly old. Mel Parnell might be might be an exception. He still looks like he's got a fair bit of life left in him. What would a guy like Mel Parnell cost me? Not very much. I like where your head's at. What if I offered you Humberto Robinson? Yeah, there we go. I will offer you this glorious offer. Is Jim Hegan secret like critical to this team? No. I'm gonna trade Jim Hegan because Klutz is gonna be coming back here soon anyway. Here we go. Who's been our worst starting pitcher? It's been Joe Dobson, and it hasn't been terribly close. Plus, it's a very lefty heavy rotation, so a really good reliever is of pretty good value. Now, what if I turned around and offered up Joe Dobson to somebody? I'm not being offered anything truly special in return. Not that I expected it, but still, I kind of hoped. Anthony Mountain is actually pretty decent. Let's go ahead and grab him. That then opens up a roster spot for a new catcher. When does the Klutz come back? He comes back in a week. Lou Bebere has really worked hard, and I think has earned himself a chance to be our backup catcher for a bit. Or maybe Berbere? I don't know. Berberet? Who can say? Um, I really kind of want to give Andy Carey a shot at third base. I think he's young and really talented, but I have to give up somebody else. And short of Joe Gordon retiring, I don't know what solution I have to that particular issue. Or trading Bobby Brown actually. Like there's not like there's anything super special about Bobby Brown that he can't be replaced. If I were to trade Mr. Blobber Brown, what would be my return? Some decent choices here. Some very decent choices. They're all pretty old, though. No veterans, please. Just give me regulars and prospects. Hmm. Joe Astroth isn't bad. I don't know that he's what I'm looking for, but he's certainly not a bad acquisition. I think I like Jack Luttrell, though. I think he would be a good fit for our team and what we're trying to accomplish here. Let's do it. Then David Williams can come back, and Andy Carey can play third base. Um, I'm gonna let D Maestri play second base a little bit longer this year, but I am gonna go ahead and put Andy Carey at third base and see what he can manage for the rest of this year. Generate depth chart, please. You can play when the starter is tired, and you can play when the starter is tired. Is there anything else I'd like to trade? I genuinely don't think so. I don't know if there's anything else where I need to like free up a spot for somebody. Um, I just don't think that's a concern for me at the moment. A busy deadline. And I think we've only really acquired one player of consequence, which is Mel Parnell. Um, which is fine. Any freely available talent, perhaps? An indie leaguer waiting for an opportunity? Yes, no, yes, the parrot? It does not appear so. Alas, alack. Oh well. Of course, we acquire Mel Parnell instantly gets worse. Okay, nothing too crazy happening there. Damn. I mean, I don't think it's very likely that Mickey Mantle is going to win anything. The Klutz here. I kind of want to let Stan Lopata play the rest. Ooh, he has cooled off significantly. Mm. He is getting on base, which is great news, but he has not been fantastic. I still think we let Mr. Klutz recover and then call him up when rosters expand in September. I think that's reasonable. I want to try to get a top five pick in the draft. That's kind of my objective here. I don't want to designate Klutz for assignment, but I don't think there's another option here. I mean, I could send down Berber and just call him right back up. I think it's fine. I think we can bring Klutz back. Mr. Klutz, I don't feel so good. Here we go. Okay, here's what's gonna happen. If Rocky Colavito is at a 40 or even a high 30, I might actually call him up for a cup of coffee here at the end of the season. An undisclosed injury. Curious. Did you burn your penis on something? That is my immediate suspicion. I don't know if my suspicion is accurate, but it's definitely sussy. Like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Hmm. Hmm. Mr. Podracer, I'm going to make you my primary setup dude, or my primary relief dude. Let's also call up Jim McDonald and Chuck Storps and Berberet and just let them do their thing. Colavito is nowhere near Major League ready, which I'm kind of okay with. I know he's like victimizing double A pitching, but I don't want to be in a position where I rush him and then he flames out. There's a fair bit riding on him. I don't see anybody else here that I really feel like calling up. So yeah. Mickey Mantle's leading the league in WAR. I doubt they're gonna make him the MVP, but maybe that'll take some of the heat off of me. I mean, they're as likely to make the postseason as Mickey Mantle is, meeting the Boston Braves, so maybe they will throw him a pity MVP. Okay. Nice. The Columbus Redbirds have are making the playoffs. That's good. One of my teams is making the postseason. I get like 30 of them, so it was going to happen eventually. We're going to go to a 6-man rotation for the rest of the season and just get Harvey Haddock some starts. I mean, he might get one more start at the end of the season. If that's the case, that's the case. But, you know, it's certainly not a bad thing to give him a start at the end there. Okay, I think we can unquestionably call this not a good season. Um, nice little shutout for Tom Morgan, though. Nice. Warm. We will break down what went wrong. It's probably a lot. Not in the least being injuries, but I wonder if Joe Gordon will also retire. Probably not. He will probably play until I force him off the team. And he's too important a leader for me to just get rid of him. I'm not doing it for sentimentality. I'm doing it because I'm worried about a revolt in the clubhouse if I got rid of him. The Red Sox won again. Those bastards. Okay, let's go ahead and break down the. No, we can advance to the actual end of the playoffs, and then we can break it down. One of my players got pitcher of the year. Good for him. I wonder how important that is to like. I mean, I guess for a player who will never play outside of the minor leagues, that's a big deal. But I would have to think for most people, like winning an award in the minor leagues just isn't that important. Whoopsie daisy. I hit the one to simulate up to the draft. We're not ready for that yet. Come on. There we go. I think Stan Musial's at least being a little bit modest there. But Joe DiMaggio at his best was better than Stan Musial. The difference is Stan Musial was the exact same fucking player for like 25 years. Which is something Joe DiMaggio couldn't say. They're both first ballot Hall of Famers. And indeed inner circle Hall of Famers. Um, there's not many players that mean more to the Yankees or the Cardinals, respectively, than Joe DiMaggio and Stan Musial. But I think Joe DiMaggio is definitely better. I think Tillman's better than either one of them. Um, but that's a much more challenging argument, um, just because how good he was at getting on base and hitting for power. He also had a longer career, I think, than DiMaggio did. I think DiMaggio's career ended a bit more earlier than we thought. El Presidente, Dennis Martinez. What a guy. Back when every player came to Cleveland to finish up their career, and they generally played like shit, Dennis Martinez is actually pretty decent. He actually pulled an important role for us and helped teach some of our younger pitchers, like a young Chuck Nagy. It's so funny that modern day Cleveland has this reputation as a pitching factory because the 90s, then Indians, not very good at developing pitching. It almost always had to bring from outside the organization. Like guys like Chuck Nagy were a rare success when the more common thing was someone like Jarrett Wright, who's maybe like a flash in the pan. Sadly, Joe Gordon did not retire, which makes me sad. But I did get a new contract. That's fun. Let us now review the team. I think it is fair to say that Mickey Mantle has officially arrived. Um, the scary thing is there is still more. Like he has been one of the best players in the league from the moment he put on a uniform, and yet he just keeps getting better. Had he not been hurt in 51, he would be a three-time All-Star already. He is really, really good, and he's only 21 years old. Gene Woodling is an unsung hero. He is not appropriately sung. I would like him sung more than he is now, because he has been a phenomenal player for the St. Louis Cardinals these past few seasons. All he needed was opportunity, because he's actually been a good player for most of his career with the Cardinals. They just didn't start him very frequently. I think it is fair to say Frank Thomas had a very successful rookie season. He was also fair to say he's a terrible. He doesn't have a great range in center field, but doesn't make very many mistakes. And his arm is amazing. Um, he would be a 6-win player if not for his terrible defense, which might lead us to believe that starting in first base is the better decision going forward. But for right now, I am overjoyed with how well he's performed. Um, Joe DiMaestri was just meant to be kind of tee hee hee, let's get somebody to help stabilize the team. He actually did quite well. He's actually an above average second baseman in his first real major league experience, so hats off to him. The Stan Lopata experiment went poorly, but yeah, we need to fix that. Andy Carey didn't play for a long time with the Cardinals. He didn't get a ton of at bats. What I saw says he actually has something to offer us, and maybe a full season as our third baseman will be highly appreciated. And then it just kind of dips off from there. Our top tier players were amazing, but then you had like Allie Clark, who was very meh. So I definitely think we need to make some moves on the margins here to improve the team going forward. Our pitching, Mel Parnell was sensational. Um, Early Wynn was great. Murray Dixon was fine. Tom Morgan was actually better than his rookie year. Wilbur Lansing filled in quite nicely. Mr. Podresing. Um, yeah, we did fine, pitching wise, and I think it's important to consider the team as a whole and realize this wasn't a bad team. This is just an average team that needed more support from its secondary players than it actually got. That's something we're going to want to fix here in the offseason. Um, whether that's finding a new center fielder and pushing Frank Thomas to first base or something. We definitely have a lot of work to do. Charlie Rivera, we need to replace. We need him replaced yesterday. He has ranged from above replacement level to below replacement level, but he's never been better than that. So we're going to need to find a solution to that particular problem sooner rather than later. Before we end the episode, let's do a quick peek. Any young Lions looking for an opportunity? The Milwaukee Braves. Oh, yes, the Boston Braves moved to Milwaukee. That is a thing that they did. Hitters. Any young offensive performers looking for an opportunity? Probably not. I mentioned by this stage in 1952 that the Negro Leagues are gone. Let me see here. Yeah, they're gone. There's only MLB now. And there are 28,000 minor leagues. But yes, there's no more Negro Leagues. RIP. Um, But that's going to end our episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know about your thoughts for a future series once we're done with this one. But until next time, this has been Guardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.